This is Jonathan Agger, Fifth for Pro Boxing Fans, joined by Kalle Sauerland here in Telford ahead of Saturday night's Misfits card. Here we are again, Kalle. Can it top January's?
Yeah, I mean, you know, from the card, okay, no people attacking the stage today, but we had people.
It almost kicked off.
Yeah, it did kick off, yeah. But it wasn't like a surprise guest up where we had Lickle Man running on the stage of the weigh-in and attacking one of the boxers. You know, we get used to it. What I would say is, if anyone hasn't seen the first fight, Dean the Great versus Walid Sharks, even if you're a boxing purist, go and watch that fight. It's a two-time Golden Glove winner against someone who can really box. Fantastic, but both guys obviously on the floor, and Dean the Great winning it in the last 30 seconds after being himself 3 times on the floor. It was an amazing fight. But they didn't get it out of their systems, did they? That dislike is there. They're not even fighting each other, and they just decided to kick off with each other. So, yeah, very, very naughty. But the security dealt with them.
This must be a dream for you as a promoter, seeing sort of what these guys do in press conferences, bets, kickoffs, as long as there's no sort of violence. Because following on from Jake Paul, Tommy Fury, a lot of people have said, you know what, professional boxers need to grow their social media presence. They need to get these followers, and these guys do it by things like what we saw, bets, etc.
Yeah, and you know, it was even Jay Swigner, the main event, with a green T-shirt for his opponent, where they can put each other's memes on it. I mean, we don't even understand how that works, but no, they get it. But let's not forget that boxers don't have, you know, these guys and girls have not come from boxing. They've come from being entertainers who have gone into boxing. So to be fair to traditional boxing, it's easy to say, well, grow your social media for it. I think everyone does try these days. Not everyone, but and some do it well, some don't do it so well. You know, it's like you've got some boxers who are fantastic boxers, just, you know, they can't light up a press conference, they can't talk, they can't sell themselves, and that is an issue for a promoter. You can have a great world champion. I've had them. I'm not going to say names now because they're actually very nice people, but they're just like, you know, unfortunately the personality is, you know, not what, you know, and it doesn't mean that you need to throw tables, Doughboy, if you're watching, but it does also, you know, you can play the good guy, you can play the bad guy, whatever you want to play, but you need some sort of authenticity around it. And you see, if AJ wasn't that sort of, you know, that sort of superpower, superhuman sort of image that he brings over, or if you look at, you know, Tyson with his bit of a bad boy image, which has now, you know, been reformed into the good guy of the sport, you know, the sort of Rocky character, you know, that's really what it is, you know, and so yeah, I mean, of course they can look at what these guys and girls do on the Misfits stage, but it's quite tough to translate that into traditional boxing.
Just sticking with that point, Simon Jordan gave his view on the fight, and he said Jake Paul's a phenomenon in what he's done to build his profile and get these type of massive paydays so early on in his career, but he feels that it's in some ways a tragedy that more talented boxers don't get that same attention. Does he have a point?
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, if you're going to judge it on boxing ability, and if you're going to say, okay, that's where I set the bar and how much money you should get, I totally follow his argument, yeah. But that's not the way life works, is it? You know, that's just not the way anything works. So, yeah, it's about what emotion you cause, you know. So I'm gonna respect the opinion. I can see where he's coming from, but it doesn't make any sense in any walk of life. It's about, you know, traction. You know, let's be honest, do people give a shit? Yeah? Do people have an opinion on it? Even if it's a bad opinion, a good opinion, doesn't matter. Do they have an opinion on it? If they're not forming an opinion, then clearly no one gives a toss. They're not going to buy a ticket for it. They're not going to watch it. They're not going to buy a pay-per-view for it. They're not going to, you know, brands aren't going to sponsor it. So, you know, the opinion is quite important.
Now, obviously, Jake Paul and Tommy Fury happened on Sunday in Saudi Arabia. Just want to get your opinion on it. And do you agree with Eddie Hearn's comments where he feels that Jake Paul can improve, but he can't fight at any level professionally? That was what he said.
Not in this lifetime, no. No, I mean, he's getting better, but he's, look, we saw just before the fight, we saw Badou Jack, who's getting a bit older as well, fight a rather old Makabu in a very entertaining fight for the Cruiserweight World Championship. So I think it was a bit ironic that fight was right on before the 8-rounder Cruiserweight fight that Jake Paul was competing in, and you tell me that Jake Paul in this lifetime could take on Badou Jack, who, by the way, isn't my risk breed. This isn't, he's come up, and I like Badou. We go back to the George Rose fight, and but he's a very good boxer, Badou Jack, and you're telling me that Jake Paul is going to beat this guy? And, well, I don't know. Maybe with 20 years experience, but the problem in 20 years, Jake Paul, I know he's a young guy, or was he 40 something? No, it's not going to happen, mate. Just forget that part. But I think that's part of his thing. Once again, opinions. Yeah, we have an opinion on Jake Paul that makes him valuable. Yeah, and very valuable for us now, because we know exactly that KSI has exactly the antidote to Jake Paul, the kryptonite, and that's speed and power.